let's get into it, shall we? Greetings and salutations. My name is Andrew Kiorkof, and welcome to the kickoff of the 2023, not only just National Football League, but the 2023 fantasy football season. In just about, I'd say, an hour and 25 minutes. Of course, the Kansas City Chiefs will be taking on the Detroit Lions in a very exciting matchup for all things fantasy purposes. We've been waiting quite some time for this moment. I'm glad you guys are here to join me. We're going to be talking all things fantasy football, answering questions for the next hour and 25 in order to help you guys set your lineups prior to, of course, tonight's game. A lot of the questions that will be fielded in my direction will probably consist of players that are not in today's matchup. What I will implore to you guys is if, in fact, we can keep it to, hey, Andrew, should I play this player that is playing tonight or somebody that's playing this weekend, because there is going to be a lot of information still from practice reports that we have not received today and tomorrow, which will give us indications as to whether or not we're starting specific players like a Jerry Jeudy or a Terry McLaurin. I know Terry McLaurin fully practiced today. As long as he's good to go tomorrow and there's no setback, we should be good there. But in regards to tonight and the questions that will be fielded in my direction, if we can keep them Thursday night related, or at least have some sort of kind of balance there, that'd be greatly appreciated. Before we begin, again, if you guys could do me a favor, support the channel by clicking the like button down below. That's all I ask. That's greatly appreciated in terms of continuing to keep this mission going of bringing daily fantasy football content to you guys so we can help you win some fantasy football championships. Obviously, we're all aware of the fact that Travis Kelce is not playing tonight. That is a given, okay? There was some speculation as to him potentially getting a warm-up in. That obviously did not pan out well. He is not going to be playing. So a lot of people perhaps have questions in regards to, am I playing Sky Moore? Am I playing Kadarius Toney? What am I doing with the tight end position now that Travis Kelce is gone? Is Noah Gray potentially a startable option? I currently have Noah Gray as my number 20 tight end going into the week with the case of Travis Kelce being out. Again, replacing a Hall of Fame tight end with Noah Gray doesn't automatically lead to success because Patrick Mahomes is there. Now, can it lead to success? Absolutely. But it doesn't mean that it's immediately going to be a one-for-one transition of targets, production, etc. going in his direction. Okay, there were a couple questions that were sent in via Super Chat. Again, don't feel obligated to do so, but if you want to go ahead, jump the line. That's one of the better ways to go ahead and do so in terms of getting your questions answered. Final thing before I get into answering questions. Again, if you guys have not yet already, like it says right there, you can go ahead, travel down to the description of the video, check out Underdog Fantasy. Sign up today using code Andrew and make a first-time deposit minimum of $10. You'll be able to take advantage of that Patrick Mahomes pick'em slip as of today, 0.5 total yards. I'll go ahead and kind of show you guys exactly what kind of pick'em slips I'm putting together for the Thursday night matchup. But if you guys want rankings every single Sunday morning sent from my email to yours, which consists of by position, by tier, half PPR, full PPR, includes flex ranking stuff that is not present on the channel at any point in time, you can go ahead and discover it there. Again, obviously, whether you're playing the pick'ems or drafting, you got to do that responsibly via Underdog Fantasy. Check the map to the bottom left to determine your eligibility as of right now. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. You can pause. Otherwise, let's get into answering some questions, shall we? All right, so Go Bills has sent in a question very earlier on before the stream even began. He said, PPR, do I start Kenneth Walker or Chris Godwin this week? Again, if we can keep the questions to tonight, great. Otherwise, I'm going to answer it anyway. Kenneth Walker or Chris Godwin in a full PPR scoring format. Let's go pull up my full PPR rankings as of today. Let's see here. Where do we have Godwin in comparison? We have Godwin there, and we have Kenneth Walker. Where are you, Kenneth Walker? Kenneth Walker's ahead of Chris Godwin in a full PPR this week. Thank you. Or is that half PPR? No, that's full. He's slightly ahead of him. Not too many blocks, but enough to make me feel confident about it. Moving on, Ozzy Reyna said, PPR, choose two. Javonte Williams, Dameon Pierce, T. Higgins. If I'm picking two out of those three, it's T. Higgins and Dameon Pierce this week. Thank you. Paul sends in a question, said, pick two. I need one running back and one flex. We have David Montgomery, James Conner, Raheem Mostert. Okay, if I'm picking two out of those three options, I'll go with David Montgomery and I'll go with James Conner, considering that the Arizona Cardinals are in fact starting Josh Dobbs, and it's not going to be Clayton Tune, the rookie fifth-round quarterback, so I'm comfortable rolling out James Conner in that circumstance. So I'll take Montgomery and Conner. As for your follow-up question, my tight end one is either Laporta or Kincaid in a full PPR. As of right now, I have Laporta one spot higher ranked than Dalton Kincaid going into this week. Thank you. Jesse sends in a question, says, I need one wide receiver, one flex. I have Ayuk, Kirk, and Montgomery. I would play Montgomery and Kirk this week. Thank you. Bald God says, PPR, two running backs, one flex, Rashad White, Deontay Johnson, Miles Sanders, Antonio Gibson. Thanks. Which head racer do you use? Thanks, Bald God. All right. As of right now, based on the PPR format that you play in, and that you need 2 running backs and 1 flex. Between the members that you mentioned, I would play Sanders, White, and Deontay Johnson. Thank you. Will Taylor says, hey, Andrew, Pacheco tonight or Pierce on Sunday? I'm pretty sure I'm playing Pacheco tonight. Let me, I think it's close though. Let me see here. We have Dameon Pierce at 24 and Pacheco at 26. It's close, man. I could talk myself into playing Isaiah Pacheco. Let me just put it that way. I could absolutely talk myself into doing it. In terms of the volume of opportunity, again, it is an unknown as to whether or not we're going to see a lot of utilization of Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I'm expecting Sky Moore. I'm expecting Isaiah Pacheco to be the goal line back, but we got to also remember down in the red zone, they like to use Jerick McKinnon a lot. There's a reason why Jerick McKinnon scored, like 8 or 9 receiving touchdowns last year. Pretty ridiculous number to say the very, or actually it was probably less. It was like 7 or 8. Either way, as of right now, yeah, I'll take Pierce. Thank you. Fresh Prince says, Dobbins, Montgomery, or Gibbs, pick 2 in a full PPR. I would play Montgomery and Gibbs over Dobbins in a full PPR. Thank you. Justin says, no, you shaved the beard, man. Where have you been, Justin? This thing's been shaved, since I started creating content for this season on August 1st, man. This thing's been gone for a while, my man. Let's see here. Mark, that boy, says Tony or Addison in a full PPR. I have Kupp and Watson, and I might consider... Yeah, look, okay, so with Kupp and Watson, we don't even know if Watson's going to play. I can check his injury designation as to what exactly he's dealing with as of today. I don't know if he practiced, so we'll go ahead and let's see here. Green Bay, did they update their practice report? Christian Watson did not practice again today. Ooh, that does not bode well. Missing Wednesday and Thursday. The likelihood of him playing and maybe even re-injuring is relatively high considering it's a hamstring. So if you're in a position, Mark, where you're like, hey, maybe I have to play Tony tonight, and then I have the decision of starting Watson or Addison on Sunday, I think that's probably in your best interest there. In order to kind of avoid, unless you have some other receiving option on your bench that you didn't mention in your question. Jamar says, flex question, Sky Moore, Deontay Johnson, or James Cook? As of right now, I do have James Cook above the rest. So that is my suggestion there. Thank you. Liam Reagan says, should I start MVS or DeAndre Hopkins this week with the Kelsey news that is present? Yeah, I would still play DeAndre Hopkins. I don't want to trust any of these Kansas City Chiefs receivers outright. So, with that being the case, I do trust Sky Moore and Kadarius Toney more than MVS. But if I'm comparing MVS to DeAndre Hopkins, I'll take Hopkins every day of the week here. As for the follow-up question, you have Lamb and Cooper as your starting wide receivers, considering the flex. Okay, yeah, question. Okay, so yeah, as of right now, I'd go D-Hop. Here's a suggestion to everyone listening, okay? Really quickly, just so we're all on the same page. Today's a Thursday night football game. If you are playing someone in tonight's matchup and they are sitting in your flex position, regardless of whether they're a running back, wide receiver, please do yourself a favor and move that player from your flex spot into one of your starting positional spots, whether it's running back or wide receiver. The primary logic behind that has to do with the fact that if, in fact, we get towards Sunday, maybe Saturday afternoon, Sunday morning, and one of the players like a Christian Watson or a Jerry Jeudy that we are expecting, hopefully they would play, if they're not going to play, you want the ability to put in anybody into your flex rather than having that position already filled and executed on Thursday. So if I have, for example, David Montgomery playing tonight, he's going to be sitting in one of my starting running back spots if possible. So you want to go ahead, make sure that you're safe so that when you get to Sunday, you're never going to be put into a situation where, unfortunately, you may not have a player that you can jump into the flex, or you might not have an available running back to replace if one of your guys get hurt, or vice versa with a wide receiver. So just keep that in mind. Thank you. Okay, we go to the next question. Sean Bonds says, trade Higgins and Dobbins for Waddle and James Cook. Yeah, I don't mind that. I'll take it. Callie Made said, PPR flex. Do I play Antonio Gibson or Jordan Addison? Between the two of them right now, you know what the issue is with Jordan Addison? Jordan Addison's not even on the depth chart for the Minnesota Vikings. I'm pretty sure he's not even a starter, which has kind of moved him down in my overall rankings since Tuesday's wide receiver rankings video. Yeah, I mean, let me see here. Where is their official depth chart? Maybe he's moved back up. Where are we at? Wide receiver. Yeah, KJ Osborne is technically starting over him as of this moment. So that does kind of put a little bit of fear in my mind if in fact they don't come out in third, in 11 personnel the whole game. So as of right now, I would probably lean towards Antonio Gibson, but yeah, that's just the current speculation because again, he's a rookie. We don't know how they're identically going to utilize him. I'm expecting the game to be very much so favored in the direction of the Minnesota Vikings, but if he's not on the field as much as we anticipate and he's not going to see the targets, it's going to be tough to trust him. All right, we had a question that came in from Alex Santos. Said, I need one, Tony, Ayuk, or Michael Pittman Jr. Of the bunch, I would play Ayuk this week. Thank you. King Nav says, full PPR Sky Moore tonight or flex in my flex over Pickens. Yes, I would play Sky Moore tonight over Pickens. Axel 8051 says, Sky Moore or Sutton? Ooh, that's tough. I'd probably wait and I'd probably play Sutton. Even if Jerry Jeudy ends up being active for that game, I would probably still play Sutton against the Las Vegas Raiders secondary. Thank you. Caleb Rios said, start Madison or Montgomery in a full PPR. I prefer Montgomery. Madison has moved up in my rankings since the Monday video, but even in that regard, I'm kind of pushing Montgomery slightly ahead of him. Based on the matchup, there's no Chris Jones. This is a run-first attack behind an extremely elite offensive line. So yeah, that's kind of the direction I'm going in there. We had Mark, that boy, said, who out of Watson and Tony, and you to go both. Thank you. Okay, I appreciate that. So between Watson and Tony, who am I playing? I mean, if you don't have a replacement for Watson, then you have to play Tony, right? Now, if you have an additional replacement for Watson, assuming we get to Sunday and he's not active, considering he missed today and yesterday's practice, then you'd want to, I'd at least want to play Watson this weekend if he's going to be active, but we're trending in the direction where that's not going to be the case. So unless you have somebody available on your waiver or potentially off your bench, you kind of have to play Tony in this circumstance. Gucci Han, Louis Han, what's up, man? Hope you're doing well. Gibbs or David Montgomery tonight in a half PPR. I have David Montgomery ahead of Gibbs in a half PPR. In a full PPR, I have it the other way around. Thank you. Blag sends in a question, says Sky Moore, Jordan Addison, or Van Jefferson. I'll play Sky Moore tonight. Thank you. Benny G, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Tommy Vu says start two out of the potential following: Lockett, James Conner, Godwin, and Cam Akers. Don't know the scoring format. Assuming it's a half PPR, I'd probably roll with Akers and Lockett there in that matchup. Thank you. Joe R says Laporta or Higbee PPR. I'd play Tyler Higbee. Check out my video. I posted it earlier today. Higbee is significantly higher ranked than Sam Laporta this week, obviously based on the absence of Cooper Kupp in the lineup. Lock Screen Gaming says start Devontae Adams or Chris Olave. If it's one or the other, I'd rather play Devontae Adams. Follow-up question: start J.K. Dobbins or James Cook. I'll play J.K. Dobbins this week against the Houston Texans. Start Cam Akers or James Cook. I'll take Cam Akers there. Start Kirk Cousins or Justin Fields. Give me Justin Fields. Thank you, Lockscreen. Ill Phil says, wow, great tip. Yeah, I'm assuming it's in regards to the flex position thing, Bob. Thanks. I saw someone in the chat was asking Noah Gray or Chigoziem Okonkwo. Again, I'd rather play Chigoziem Okonkwo. I do not have, even with the absence of Travis Kelce, I do not have Noah Gray ranked in my top 16 tight ends. I think he's number 20 on my list via Patreon. So I'm not treating him as if he is filling in and immediately making an impact. He absolutely could. We haven't seen enough Noah Gray, or at least I haven't, to convince me that he can fill in and make an immediate impact and deserve a start in this regard. Appreciate it. Let's see here. So in regards to the question from Ill Phil, he said, just move McKinnon from the flex into my RB spot. Okay, cool. Awesome. Thank you very much, Phil. Appreciate it. Eric Patterson says, Sky Moore or Mostert in a flex. Depends on your scoring format. In a half PPR, probably play Mostert. In a full PPR, I could convince myself into playing Sky Moore there. Yeah, I think I can convince myself. Let me see how close I even have them. I think I probably have Mostert ahead, but let's see. Where are we? Where's Sky Moore? Sky Moore is there. I have Raheem Mostert still ahead of him in a full PPR. Again, I don't like to invest or specifically expect one of these wide receivers to play well, because when we're all expecting Sky Moore to play well, Justin Watson's going to have himself a great game. When we're all expecting Kadarius Toney to play well, Marquez Valdes-Scantling scores a touchdown. When we're all expecting Noah Gray to score a touchdown and be a great option within this offense, here comes the other backup tight end for this team. The Chiefs are very difficult to trust in any sort of capacity outside of just Mahomes and Kelsey. Otherwise, their backfield on top of their receiving core is a little bit of a mess at the moment because, again, they haven't really utilized anybody to a point outside of, I guess Tyreek Hill in seasons past to an extent to where we can trust the overall workload that we can expect tonight. Corey Miller says, PPR, Jerick McKinnon, Mike Williams, Mike Evans. I'll take Mike Williams as the first option. The second option, I will take Mike Evans. Thank you. Kev Videos says, start Kadarius Toney or Van Jefferson this week. Seahawks corners an issue. As of this moment, I would play Kadarius Toney over Van Jefferson. I don't trust Van Jefferson enough to where I'm feeling super confident that he's going to fill in for Cooper Kupp and fill that void. I'd rather just expect Kadarius Toney to get greater volume, especially considering Kadarius Toney, even though he was limited earlier this week, he did end up getting a full practice yesterday, which gives me a bit more confidence in comparison to someone like Van Jefferson, who typically needs like a huge deep ball down the sideline for him to be relevant within a given week, especially with Matthew Stafford. All right, so there was a question that was sent in that did not have a message attached to it. Let me go ahead and see if I can find that. It was from Robert. Robert, let me go ahead and find that, my man. All right, Robert, where are you at, my man? Robert says, hey, Andrew, what do you think of Will Disley? Thanks for the content. Not starting him this week. Probably not starting him this week. Thank you. Appreciate it, Robert. Moving on. We have a question in from Damon. Damon, where are you at? Okay, Damon's question goes as such. Forgot my question. Sky Moore or Christian Kirk this week? I would play Christian Kirk. Thank you. Follow-up question from Ben. Ben says, Laporta or Thielen, half PPR, tight end premium. The issue with Adam Thielen is that I believe he missed practice today. So unless you have another additional option off of your bench that would fill in the case in which we say, hey, let's play Adam Thielen there, because that would be my primary suggestion. But if we get to Sunday and he is not active in that game, it could hurt you if you don't have an additional option. Yes. So on Wednesday, Adam Thielen was limited in his participation to practice. As of today's designation, both him and DJ Chark missed. So this looks like a, hey, do you have the ability to go get Jonathan Mingo off the waivers? Because if you do, I feel like that could be someone that could have a breakout week immediately in week 1, because Terrace Marshall's also been limited to practice with a back injury. So all signs are pointing towards Jonathan Mingo, someone that we've talked about this offseason, potentially taking the number 1 spot in that offense if, in fact, these receivers don't get healthy. So that's kind of a question for you, Ben. If you don't have another option outside of Thielen and he's going to potentially miss, you might have to play Laporta, but I'm sure that there's someone on the waivers that is more valuable than the rookie tight end. Thank you. Okay, let's see here. Let me go ahead and scroll. Benny G says Laporta or Noah Gray tonight. I don't like either of them. It's not that I don't like either of them. I don't love either of them. If I had to pick one, I would pick Laporta. Let's see here. Daniel says, first one of the year, full PPR, Madison or Montgomery? I'll take Montgomery. Thank you. Let's see here. David says, welcome to full PPR. Welcome back. Welcome back. Man, I've been here for a while. What do you mean welcome back? I need one running back and one flex. We have Rashad White, Raheem Mostert, Khalil Herbert, JSN, or Christian Watson if healthy. I guess we'll have to wait and see. If Christian Watson is healthy, I'd probably play him alongside of Rashad White in a full PPR. If he's not, then you probably play Khalil Herbert alongside Rashad White. Thank you. Joe R says second flex PPR, Deontay Johnson, DJ Moore, Brandon Ayuk, Sutton, Javonte, or Mostert. Of the available options in a PPR format, who are we flexing? Okay, so out of that group, it's probably something of the combination of Sutton and Deontay Johnson there in a full PPR. Thank you. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it. Okay, Jared Bronner says, Christian Watson or McKinnon tonight. I also have Addison. I would probably wait. I would see if Watson plays. If he doesn't, you roll with Addison there. Thank you. Lachi McQueen says, half PPR, pick 2, Connor, Jamal Williams, or Christian Kirk. In a half PPR, I'm more fond of Connor than I was earlier this week. And I'd probably end up playing both Connor and Jamal Williams there in a half PPR. Thank you. All right, let me see some of these questions in the chat. I do appreciate all of you guys who send in those super chats. Greatly appreciate that. Let's see what we have here in the chat. We had Hudson George say, pick 2 in a full PPR, Sky Moore, Sutton, and London. If I'm picking 2 of those options, I'm probably playing Sutton and London. I'm going to be totally honest. I could convince myself into starting Sky Moore over London, but at this point, I'm not. I don't feel any like, yeah, I don't have a strong sense of like, yeah, Sky Moore is going to immediately be able to put up 8 catches for 80 yards and a touchdown. I don't feel that kind of upside there. I mean, it certainly could happen, but we're gonna have to wait and see. So I just kind of pivot towards playing the other two options you got. Jonathan says full PPR pick 2, Andrew. Madison, Connor, Akers. I would play Madison and Akers there. Thank you. Isaiah Sanders says James Cook or Dotson in a full PPR. Considering Terry McLaurin's back, I'd probably go with James Cook there. James Cook or AJ Dillon, says Blaine. I'd say James Cook's the option there in a full PPR. Benny G says I don't like either of them myself, mate. I went hard for wide receivers and running backs. Yeah, it is unfortunate, but we just got to hope one of them find the end zone, specifically Laporta in this case, I guess, right? Tyler Lockett or Amari Cooper, says Christian. At this point, Christian, I'm leaning towards. Yeah, I'm leaning towards Tyler Lockett. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think I am. I'm pretty sure in my rankings I have Amari Cooper, just because in the full PPR too, the volume of receptions that he'll get in comparison to Lockett, especially considering we expect JSN to be active, I think it's probably Amari Cooper. Where's my rankings? Yeah, Amari Cooper 16 and Tyler Lockett 18. Amari Cooper's the answer. Half PPR, says Sam. Montgomery, Judy, Madison, or McLaurin. I'd take Montgomery. Again, guys, you drafted Montgomery to play him. If you drafted him to keep him on your bench, then keep him on your bench. But I drafted him to play him, and I think of the matchups that you could potentially play him within this week, or at least in the first couple weeks, that are going to be as advantageous as this, it's going to be few and far between. I know they have a very easy strength of schedule, but when you have the opportunity of playing behind one of the best offensive lines, not only just in the NFC, but in the National Football League altogether, and there's no Chris Jones available for the other side, I do expect there to be a lot of opportunity going in the direction of both these running backs. Gibbs and Montgomery should both be relevant. Sky Moore or Brandon Ayuk in a full PPR? Man, I don't think I'm doing that. I think I'm playing Ayuk. Yeah, I think I probably play Ayuk there. Look. Here's the thing, guys. If you feel comfortable enough rolling out Sky Moore, be my guest. Roll it out there. The assumption is that he is the slot receiving option, right? And if he's the slot receiving option of this offense, similar to what we've seen in years past with Juju or Tyreek Hill, whether he's played in the slot, because Tyreek Hill did play in the slot a lot in this offense. The question is just purely, did Sky Moore take a year 2 jump? Is he going to be one of these guys that can immediately jump into the conversation and get enough utilization and opportunity within this offense? Or is other options that are going to be rotating within this receiving core going to kind of limit his overall potential upside? That's the question. Now, I know you're asking me, but quite frankly, I can't see the future. And I can't 100% tell you that Sky Moore is more reliable than someone like Brandon Ayuk when I've seen Brandon Ayuk get it done over the last 3 years of his career now. So at this point, I'll just lean towards Ayuk. Monty or Mike Williams non-PPR? Tiago, I would take Monty there. Thank you. Noah Gray, question mark? Yeah, I have him ranked as my number 20 tight end. Not convinced that he can fill in for the Hall of Famer and be just as productive. Can he be decent? Sure, but he's going to have himself a pretty large volume of opportunity in comparison to a lot of the other threats within this offense. Again, like when you just think about the Chiefs receiving core and all that they have, all the running backs, like are any of us really going to be surprised if the Kansas City Chiefs have Patrick Mahomes throw for 350 yards, but he does it in a way when he just kind of evenly distributes it amongst everyone, and like there's no one that is super relevant for fantasy purposes outside of guys who catch touchdowns? Like, I wouldn't be surprised, and that's kind of the situation that we've kind of been put into, unfortunately. Khalil Herbert or Raheem Mostert? Michael, I would play Khalil this week. Thank you. Kenneth Williams says Pickens or James Cook. I would play James Cook in a full PPR. Michael Williams says, you're the GOAT. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Sanders, White, or Hopkins in a full PPR? I would play Hopkins there. Thank you. C. Crip says, hey, Andrew, in the flex in a full PPR scoring format with DeAndre Hopkins, Michael Thomas, Javonte Williams, Khalil Herbert, Rashad White, and Christian Kirk, and also Kenneth Walker available. Who am I starting? I'm already starting Henry, Mixon, JJ, and Devonta Smith. Okay, so of the available options, if I'm only starting one of these players in the flex, it's probably Kenneth Walker. Thank you. Appreciate it. We had Sean ask a question. What's up, Sean? Hope you're doing well. Sean says, in a half PPR, since Kupp is out, who do I put in my flex? DeAndre Swift, Zay Flowers, or Nico Collins? Already have Mark Andrews and Dobbins in my lineup. Ooh, of the available, I'd probably roll with DeAndre Swift there. I mean, again, it's going to be a matter of being able to decipher that backfield. But even though all four of those starting, okay, so I don't know if you guys heard me talk about this when I was mentioning Jalen Hurts in yesterday's quarterback rankings episode. The current depth chart for the Philadelphia Eagles have DeAndre Swift, Kenneth Gainwell, Rashad Penny, and Boston Scott all as the first string running back. The fact of the matter is, DeAndre Swift is the best running back in that backfield, and it's a given, and I'm sure he's proven that at training camp. So I know that they're trying to use all these smoke and mirrors, but of the group, who I have the most confidence in is DeAndre Swift and a half PPR. Thank you. Young Savvy says, trade Cup for Godwin and Hawkinson. Wait, you already traded? It says traded Cup for Godwin and Hawkinson. Yeah, it's not a great trade. I'm going to be honest. That is as bad as it gets, my man. Now, if you know something that we don't and Cooper Kupp season's over, then congratulations. Otherwise, I don't trust it. Pacheco or Terry McLaurin, full PPR. I take Terry McLaurin there. Let's see here. Adam in the chat was asking Jamal Williams or Madison. I play Madison. Let's see here. Kobe in the chat was asking Sky Moore or Nico Collins. Yeah, I'd play Sky Moore there. Thank you. Lek says James Cook, DJ Moore, Khalil Herbert, pick 2. If I'm picking 2 out of that group, James Cook, DJ Moore, Khalil Herbert. Probably playing both the running backs, to be totally honest. James Biggs in the chat was saying, with Kelsey out, should I move Tony from my bench and play him over Hollywood, who is currently listed as questionable? Let me look at the Arizona Cardinals injury report as to what is going on with Hollywood. So Hollywood Brown was limited the last 2 days with a hamstring. Do I want to play Kadarius Toney over him in this week's match? I mean, look, that's the difficult part. I personally would rather play Marquise Hollywood Brown with Joshua Dobbs. That's me personally. So I would try to push it. The question is, what other options do you have if, in fact, Marquise Hollywood Brown doesn't play? If you don't have another option, you can't make a swap in terms of a waiver wire pickup. There's nothing of that, kind of available. Then I guess you're kind of, unfortunately, cornered to kind of playing Tony, which again could end up panning out. So it's not a bad thing. It's just something I wouldn't prefer over the alternative option, assuming he's healthy, of course. Let's see here. Jay Nice says, hey, Andrew, thoughts on going Sam Laporta over Andrews due to the quad injury? Yeah, I don't like that. And Greg Dulcich for Kelsey's replacement in a full PPR. Greg Dulcich, again, kind of a coin toss. He didn't play on any of the first or second down snaps of the preseason with the starting offense. He only played on third down, which certainly is going to limit his overall potential upside. But again, that is the preseason. They were running a little bit of a vanilla scheme, so they may end up changing it up. So it's, we'll wait and see what comes of Greg Dulcich. But playing Sam Laporta tonight because you're worried about Mark Andrews on Sunday, I think is a little bit premature of a decision. I can assure you that he will play. And even when he is limited with a hamstring, with a quad injury, it's not going to be enough to where. Am I still live? Yeah, I am. It's not going to be to the point to where we're worried. Oh man, I wish I started Sam Laporta. Why do I have Mark Andrews in? When you have Mark Andrews on your team, you got to play him. I mean, that's just kind of the nature of the beast. Napa says 1 wide receiver, 1 flex in a full PPR. I have Sky Moore, Deontay Johnson, and Pierce. Yeah, out of that group, I'm playing Johnson and Pierce. John says, can you read your defenses? We'll do that on Sunday morning. Thank you, John. Appreciate it. McKinnon or Sky Moore? I'll take Sky Moore there, Kobe. Ahmad says, Kelsey's out full PPR, Okonkwo or Gray. I mentioned this earlier. I'd play Chigoziem Okonkwo over Gray this week. Let's see. Full PPR, McLaurin, Godwin, or Debo. Choose one. If I'm playing one in a full PPR, it's... I'm going to say wait on that. We'll definitely have an answer by Sunday. I just got to see if Terry McLaurin has a setback tomorrow. Okay, so Gray or Noah Fant. At that point, yes, I'd play Noah Gray over Noah Fant this week. Quentin. Thank you for the question. Let's see here. We had Jacob Rodriguez sending the question. Says, my team is Burrow and Stafford. My wide receivers are Kupp, Waddle, and Lazard. Along with Elijah Moore. My running backs are Pollard, Madison, Montgomery, and Swift. Tight ends are Hawkinson, Schultz, and was given a C- by Yahoo. I mean, unless this is a 2 QB league, I don't know why you have Stafford on roster if you've got Burrow. Wide receiver depth-wise, it depends how many teams are in this league. Having your third wide receiver being Lazard is pretty tough. I mean, that is definitely pretty thin on the wide receiver position, especially considering, now that Kupp is injured. But in terms of depth, the team is pretty thin. In terms of starters, as the primary guys, fantastic. But the rest of the way, it kind of falls off. Deontay Johnson or David Montgomery. I played David Montgomery today. Christian Kirk, Terry McLaurin, or Jahan Dotson, full PPR. Again, anything that's related to Terry McLaurin, I kind of just want to wait until Sunday and we'll figure it out. Kelsey's been ruled out. Yep, that was the expectation. Again, we specifically, I had read it from a report from, I think it was Ian Rappaport maybe it was an hour ago, in regards to him potentially missing. And that maybe he was going to try it again, but didn't look like he was going to give it a go. We had a couple questions come in as well. We had Rohit said, greetings and salutations. I play in a league where it's a tight end / wide receiver flex. I have Sutton, Goddard, and Gabe Davis. Thanks, by the way. It's a half PPR. Okay, cool. So of the available, Sutton, Goddard, and Gabe Davis. So at this point, let's see here. Where is Sutton in comparison to Goddard? Where is Goddard? Yeah, I play Cortland Sutton out of that group. Thank you, Rohit. Michael Barton says, Taylor, I think it's McBride or Luke Musgrave at tight end. McBride versus Washington or Musgrave versus the Chicago Bears. I play Luke Musgrave there. Thank you. Christopher K says Conklin, Gesicki, Logan Thomas, Hayden Hurst, Noah Fant, or Irv Smith Jr. Out of the group, let's see here. What do we have ranked? Out of the players that you mentioned, I have Conklin ranked the highest. Then it goes Irv Smith after him, and then Hayden Hurst after that. So it'd be Conklin this week against Buffalo. Thank you. Moving on, we had a question from Johnny Coffey. Says Miles Sanders or Ramondre Stevenson, half PPR. I'll take Ramondre this week. Thank you. Avnesh says full PPR, Noah Gray or Hayden Hurst. I'll take Noah Gray there. Thank you. Raj had a question. Don't think it was attached, so let me see if I can find it. Drop one for a kicker. Zeke, Elijah Moore, Pirine, or Juju. I drop Zeke. Yeah, I think the other options certainly have more upside. Thank you, Raj. Appreciate it. All right, let's see here. Mark L in the chat was saying, hey, Andrew, in a PPR scoring format, would you play Madison or Dobbins? That's a good question. I think, let's see here. Full PPR, where are we at? Dobbins. I have Madison literally one spot ahead of Dobbins in a full PPR, number 16 versus number 17. So Madison will be the suggestion as of today. Thank you. Pittman or Herbert in a flex. I'll take Herbert there. Moving on, we had a question of Montgomery or Mike Williams. We answered that a little bit earlier. Leonard, I would play Montgomery today. What's up, PB? How's it going? Joseph says Jahan Dotson or Rashad White in a half PPR. For now, assuming, again, it's going to be very much so contingent of Terry McLaurin's status, but yeah, I'll say White for now. Flex Jerick McKinnon or Sky Moore, says Tingles. I play Sky Moore there. Deontay Johnson or Sky Moore in a non-PPR? Ooh, that's a good question. In a non-PPR scoring format? Dude, that's tough. I don't even... Non-PPR. So just based on yardage and touchdown upside. Ooh. Do I trust Deontay enough against Charvarius? That one I got to think about for a bit. Monty or Dotson? I'd play Monty there. Charbonnet, Hall, or Addison this week? I play Hall. Monty or Connor? I play Monty. Sky Moore or Pacheco? I play Pacheco in a half PPR. Montgomery or Walker? I have Kenneth Walker ahead of David Montgomery. But I'd like to play them both if you given the opportunity. Judy or Michael Thomas? Under the assumption that Judy plays, I would rather play him over Michael Thomas. But again, we don't know if he's going to be healthy by tomorrow. Obviously, he's been limited all week in practice, coming off the hamstring injury. Let's see here. How do we feel about Mahomes? Again, Mahomes in September, specifically on the first game of the year, Mahomes is unstoppable. Like he's undefeated in the last 5, first games of the season, in week 1 of the season. He averages, 3.6 passing touchdowns per game in those week 1s. But again, he's missing a lot of guys that in the past have helped him. There's no Tyreek Hill. There's no Travis Kelce tonight. There's no Juju Smith. There's no McCole Hardman. So again, we are in a very limited capacity as to what we're going to see from these receivers. Again, the overwhelming kind of question that I'm getting is Sky Moore startable? In some circumstances, yes. In others, again, there are alternative options that are going to be better. There are certainly going to be alternative options that would be better. Unless Sky Moore goes for the absolute breakout 30-point game that, I don't really think anybody's expecting, but it's possible. Emmanuel says Prescott or Cousins. I'll take Cousins this week. Sky Moore or McKinnon. Again, I'll take Sky Moore there, Kobe. You got to listen, man. I've been answering that question for the last hour. And I think you've asked it like 4 times in a row. How do we feel about Rachaad White this year? Again, he's a 3-down back. Sean Tucker could, the undrafted free agent rookie could get himself in the rotation, but it's not going to be that big of a impact, especially considering he's still going to have a lot of that 3rd-down work. All right, we had questions come in from Avnesh again. Said Mike Williams or Cortland Sutton. I'll take Cortland. Ibrahim Yusuf, what's up, Ibrahim? Says, hey, Andrew, pick 2, Kenneth Walker, Rachaad White, Khalil Herbert, or Dotson. Also, thoughts on Amon-Ra today? Amon-Ra should be incredible. I've gone ahead and put together a pick'em slip via Underdog that has him going over 6.5 receptions today. I'm pretty confident in that number. Again, like I've mentioned in the past, the guy's had 6 or more receptions in 18 of the last 20 healthy games he's played. Tonight, it's going to be asked of him to do a lot more in order to make sure that they can win this game against the defending champs. So I'm expecting a lot of targets to be peppered in the direction of Amon-Ra. As for your primary question, though, of the available options, if I'm picking 2 to start this week, I'm playing Herbert and Kenneth Walker. Thank you. Plumpy Lump says half PPR, Mims or Tony. I will play Kadarius Toney over Marvin Mims. Or Bateman. Yes, I would play Tony over Bateman as well. Thank you. Captain OBJ says, PPR, start 2, Mike Evans, Monty, or James Conner. I play both running backs, Montgomery and Conner. Thank you. Jake Perez says, PPR. I need 2 to flex this week. Okay, let's see what you got here, man. We have Rachaad White, we have James Cook, Cortland Sutton, Nico Collins, Elijah Moore, and Jordan Addison. Of the available options, I'm probably playing Sutton and White. Thank you. Follow up, you also said you had Chigoziem Okonkwo or Juwan Johnson at the tight end position. If I'm picking one, if it's just for this week, I'll take Juwan Johnson. If it's rest of the season, I'll take Chigoziem Okonkwo. Thank you, Clarence. Football is in fact back in about, less than an hour. The Detroit Lions and Kansas City Chiefs kickoff will commence, and the beginning of the 2023 NFL and fantasy football season will be upon us. For those of you who are just joining us, thank you. We'll be answering questions for the next, let's say 40, 50 minutes in terms of all things fantasy related. If you have not yet already, do me a solid, click the like button down below. Again, I'm trying to answer as many questions as possible. There's only one of me and many of you, but by showing support down by clicking the like button, it is greatly appreciated and helps continue to support the channel. Couple things that I want to remind you guys of. I mentioned this earlier already. If in fact you are going to play someone in tonight's matchup in your lineup, please make sure that they are not sitting in your flex position. Again, the entire purpose of that is if in fact we get to Sunday and one of your other options is considered out due to an injury, because something has happened or there was some sort of unexpected turn, you want to be able to have the flexibility of having that flex option. That's why it's called flexible. So you can play a running back, wide receiver, or a tight end there. So if you're playing someone like, let's say, for example, you're playing Sky Moore tonight, and you already have Devonta Smith and Chris Olave, and you know you're going to start those 2 wide receivers. Do not play Sky Moore in your flex, just in case. Just put him in your starting roster spot, if in fact you're going to start him, and let him roll. Let's see here. We had a question saying Mike White. No, that's not Mike White. That's Mike Williams or Rachaad White. Kind of got it mixed up. I will play Mike Williams this week. Thank you. Let's see here. We had a question come in from Okana. Thank you very much, Okana. It says PPR, DJ Moore or Jahan Dotson. I played Jahan Dotson this week. We had a question from Michael Barton. Says grade Hurts, Lamb, DJ Moore, Dobbins, Pollard, Stevenson. I'm not mad at it. Again, when you have Jalen Hurts and then you have CeeDee Lamb and Pollard, you're already in a really good spot. The fact that you were still able to get Stevenson in a full PPR format is really beneficial. DJ Moore should be great this year. Again, this week I'm not so keen on his potential matchup against Jair Alexander. But overall, in terms of a team, it's pretty solid. I don't know what the rest of your team looks like, but as starting pillars, I don't know what your tight end is. I think you asked about it earlier. Pretty strong. It's not a... Yeah, it's not a team that I'm over the moon about, but I think it's a solid team that if they stay healthy, can really do damage and take you far. Fast says, I can't get any answers? Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. Yeah, you absolutely can. If you typed a question there, you were literally at the very top of my screen. You'd have been good to go, man. Just type. I'm trying to get there, man. It's one of me and many of you. Let's see here. Tim Short said, full PPR. I need one wide receiver, one running back, one flex. We have Gibbs, Sky Moore, DJ Moore, Mike Evans, Deion Jackson. I wouldn't touch Deion Jackson right now because Zach Moss could potentially play. So of the available, am I starting Sky Moore over the other options? I'd rather play Gibbs. I'd rather play DJ Moore. I'd rather play Mike Evans this week, to be totally honest. Let's see here. Hothi says Zach Charbonnet or Zay Jones in a half PPR this week. I'd rather play Zay Jones there. Thank you. Appreciate it. Zhang says Javonte, Brees, or Mostert. I take Mostert there out of the three. Mike, it actually says Mike White or Tebow. Good question. Yeah, listen, man. The legend of Tim Tebow unfortunately is over. Unfortunately over. Let's see here. Good question, though. Pete Carlo says, full PPR, pick 2. We have Christian Watson, DeAndre Swift, Deion Jackson, Kadarius Toney, Mike Evans. If I'm playing 2 of these options, I want to potentially play Christian Watson. If I'm not able to, I'd play Evans or Swift, or Evans and Swift, potentially. Reed or Watson. Again, if Watson's healthy, you play him. Otherwise, you would take Jaden Reed, the rookie wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers, and you play him instead if that's the best available option you have. Sky Moore or Michael Thomas. I'd rather play Sky Moore this week. Pick 2 in a full PPR. D-Hop, Lockett, or Mike Williams. I'd rather play Lockett and Mike Williams over the bunch. Over D-Hop specifically. We had a question come in from Pee-wee. Pee-wee says, Nico Collins. Is that Khalil Herbert? I'm assuming. That's the only other Herbert I can think of. Sanders in the flex position in a full PPR scoring format. I would rather play Miles Sanders out of that group. The follow-up question. Michael Thomas, Madison, Herbert in the flex. I play Madison in the flex there. Thank you. Okay, we had another question coming here from Ricky. Ricky Sarton said, Sky Moore over Madison, Gibson, or Pierce. I would play Sky Moore over Antonio Gibson. I would not play him over Damian Pierce or Alexander Madison. I would definitely play him over Antonio Gibson, though. There should be 600 likes right now. Yeah, the fact that there isn't 600 likes right now is quite discouraging. I'm trying to answer as many questions as possible, but hey, listen, I'm here. I'm willing to help regardless. It is what it is. But I do appreciate you saying that in the chat. Goddard or Higbee? Check out today's video. I do have Higbee higher than Goddard this week. The absence of Cooper Kupp definitely makes a difference. Herbert or Montgomery? I play Montgomery this week. Pirine or Gibson? I play Samaje Pirine there. I've moved them up in my rankings. Again, the assumption is that we're going to see a pitch count from Javonte Williams, which will, of course, allow Samaje Pirine in the matchup, which is quite advantageous against the Las Vegas Raiders, to have himself a pretty decent volume of work there. Nico Collins says... Okay, sorry. Dustin says Nico Collins or Jordan Addison. I think it probably... yeah, that one's tough. Considering Jordan Addison is an unknown commodity, typically you would think, let's just roll with Nico Collins. I think I know what I'm going to get out of Nico Collins this week. I think I'd rather just play Jordan Addison and kind of risk it. Stash Toney or Elijah Moore in a full PPR. If this is a stash question rather than a start or sit question, obviously we want players that are associated with top tier offenses, but honestly, I think I'd probably rather just stash Elijah Moore. I think there's more upside there. Let's see here. Breece Hall or JSN? I'd play Breece Hall this week, even if JSN's healthy and ready to go. D-Hop or Sky Moore? D-Hop. Cole Kmet or Luke Musgrave? I'd play Cole Kmet. Evans or Jahan Dotson? Jahan Dotson. Let's see here. What else we have? We had a question come in from Avoth. Avoth says, 12 team, 1 point per reception, 1 quarterback, 2 running back, 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end in the flex, super flex league. We have the following players, okay? We have Fields and Watson, Madison, Pacheco, and McKinnon. We have Deion Jackson, Elijah Mitchell, Zach Charbonnet, CeeDee Lamb, Debo, Pickens, Elijah Moore, Jonathan Mingo, Kelsey, Everett. Week 1 ideas. Obviously you have to start your 2 quarterbacks, Fields and Watson. The running backs that I would suggest are playing Madison and Pacheco. The wide receivers that I would suggest are CeeDee Lamb, Debo Samuel. You play Everett in your tight end position, and your flex is most likely going to be either Deion Jackson or Jonathan Mingo. It would be Jonathan Mingo if, in fact, we do end up seeing both Adam Thielen and DJ Chark once again miss practice tomorrow, which would, of course, allow Mingo to be the primary receiving option of that offense and quite valuable in that overall stint. If, in fact, that's not the case, we can just pivot over and play Deion Jackson or potentially Zach Moss. Depends who's going to be the back there, kind of running the entire Colts backfield. Thank you. AJ97 says, thoughts in a half PPR playing Mahomes, Akers, Sanders, Jefferson, Ridley, Waller, Mostert, Zay Flowers, Jonathan Taylor. I mean, that's really, that team already. The fact that you have Jefferson, Ridley, 2 top 12 guys, Mahomes. I mean, Akers and Sanders are discounts at running back, but again, they'll get the job done. Jonathan Taylor is going to be the biggest difference maker of that team, though, AJ. You and I both know it, right? If you can get Jonathan Taylor at a 16-point capacity and back and on the Colts or even on a different team, you're going to be a pretty tough team to beat in that overall regard. HFL 5864 says, Rashad White or Miles Sanders, groin concern. I mean, Miles Sanders has been dealing with that groin injury for a while. The assumption is that he's gone ahead and worked through it already. Like, he missed a pretty significant, portion of the overall kind of off-season workouts because of the groin injury and training camp. As of right now, he is not designated with an injury. He was not limited at all this week, so I'm not really concerned about it. I would play Sanders in that regard. Jack Skellington says, half PPR, wide receiver 2, start Treylon Burks, Kadarius Toney, or Jackson Smith and Jigba. Again, so here's the thing. Jackson Smith and Jigba could end up playing this week, right? I'm not 100% certain as to whether or not he's cleared for contact, but Wednesday, it was a full practice. He may be cleared for contact. Even if he is, I think I wait on a week, kind of see exactly how they're going to utilize him, and I'll just play Toney tonight. We had Joshua Owens say full PPR, Noah Gray or Irv Smith Jr. I have Noah Gray literally one spot ahead of Irv Smith. They're number 20 and 21 in my rankings. So I'd play Noah. Rowett says, here's a 60-second break because you're 30-second break because you're a beast. Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it. Now we got to keep going. Matthew Palmer says, skip my question. Did you ask a question, Matthew? Matthew, you did. My apologies. Matthew says, full PPR, wide receiver set. Okay, here we go. We have JJ and Waddle. Who do I start from the 2 running backs and 2 wide receivers? We have Gibbs, Sanders, Stevenson, Montgomery, Hopkins. Okay, so of the available options you have for this week, in a full PPR scoring format, my 2 running backs that would be starting are Stevenson and Gibbs. Actually, this is actually how you probably have to do it. You start both Montgomery and Gibbs as your starting running backs. You would play Stevenson in your flex next to DeAndre Hopkins. Thank you. Sorry about missing your question earlier. Apologies. Mike Williams or Sky Moore in a half PPR. Gabe, I would play Mike Williams there, man. Yeah, I'd feel really confident, in fact, playing Mike Williams there. Toney or Williams? Which Williams are we talking about? Mike Williams? I'd rather play Mike Williams. Lockett or Jahan Dotson in the flex? I'd play Lockett there. We had a question from C-Crip. Said, I need a wide receiver in the flex in a full PPR scoring format. Evans, Swift, McKinnon, or D-Hop. Wide receiver and a flex, or wide receiver / flex. So if it's a wide receiver that you want, I'd play D-Hop there. If it's a flex, I'm probably going with DeAndre Swift or Evans. I'm not playing McKinnon today. Thank you. Alejandro says, hey, Andrew, Godwin or Montgomery in the flex in a half PPR. Thanks, bro. I play Montgomery. Thank you. Jordy Peasy says, should I trade Amon-Ra and Ramondre Stevenson? Should I trade Amon-Ra for Ramondre Stevenson and Khalil Herbert? I have Ridley and Lamb as my wide receivers, Madison and Montgomery as my running backs. I have Kittle. No, I think I'd probably just keep Amon-Ra St. Brown. I don't think I need to make the pivot there because I prefer Amon-Ra ahead of Ramondre by a pretty considerable margin, and I don't really think you need the running back depth to also have Khalil Herbert there. So I probably just keep what you have. Problem Bless says Zay Flowers or Pickens. Ooh, I don't know what to do with those Ravens wide receivers. I'll be totally honest. I think we kind of have to wait a week, see what exactly they produce for us, and then after we have an indication as to snap counts, frequency of targets, routes run, and all that kind of different variables that gives us insight to the potential player's upside. Once we have that information, I feel more comfortable. For now, I'd probably go George Pickens, though. Let's see here. We had a question coming from Robert. Robert, where are you at, man? Jamal Williams or Javonte in a half PPR. I play Jamal there. Yeah, Jamal's moved up in comparison to those running backs that are going to be on that pitch count per se. Thank you. Appreciate it, Robert. Is Flowers a must start if Odell is out? Is Odell going to be out? Let me check the injury report for the Baltimore Ravens just to confirm that speculation or statement that was made. Where is the Ravens? Here we go, Ravens. Odell Beckham Jr. limited practice as of today. Wasn't a participant on Wednesday, or there just wasn't an indication or designation as of the practice report. He was limited today. Again, if he's out, then yes, it makes Flowers that much more of a... I'd have significantly more conviction to starting Flowers in the absence of OBJ. That is a given. Because again, there'd be less competition for targets within the offense. Obviously, we know there's a potential of the quad injury continuing to bother Mark Andrews, so it'll just open up more opportunities for other receiving threats, which will be great for someone like Zay Flowers for sure. We had a question that came in from Scar. Scar, where are you at, man? Scar says, and I quote, standard scoring. I know it's boring. No, it's fine. You're good. Mike Williams, Breece Hall, Antonio Gibson in the flex. Leaning towards Mike Williams. Yeah, I would as well. The primary reason, again, is because if Breece Hall is going to be on a snap or pitch count alongside of someone like Dalvin Cook, and we already heard Robert Saleh earlier this week say that he's going to get Michael Carter into the mix as well because of their pitch counts and limited nature, I would rather play Mike Williams there as well. Thank you. Dilo sends in a question. Dilo says, pick one, Christian Watson, Tony Swift, Juju, or Deion Jackson in a half PPR. At this point, I want to play Christian Watson if, in fact, you are given a position where later this week, Saturday afternoon, they say Christian Watson's not playing. I'd still feel comfortable playing Juju after the fact, or DeAndre Swift. So to answer your question, no, I'm not starting Tony over those guys because you do have alternative options that give you the pivot. Jacob says, since you said my team is thin, what could I get for Cup and a half PPR? Again, Cup is only as valuable as other managers see him to be, right? So even though I believe Cooper Kupp has a specific value, you have to go and you have to ask your league mates, what do they want to give for Cooper Kupp? Because just because I tell you, hey, I would only, accept one of the following options, it is tough to impose that upon your league mates. Let's see here. Where are we at? Is Kenneth Walker the third hurt? He's not on the injury designation as of the practice report. I can once again check it right now. Yeah, he is not on the injury report. So the expectation is that he's not hurt unless you heard something that I didn't, Virgil. Adelina says, can you rank kickers? I mean, what kickers are we wondering about, guys? Are we talking about like tonight's kickers? I have Harrison Butker as my number 2 kicker on the week. I'm expecting the offense to stall out times and probably kick a considerable amount of field goals. So if that's your question, then that's kind of where I'm leaning. Otherwise, the stud kickers of, Justin Tucker, Daniel Carlson, these guys are going to be in the rotation. They're going to be great to play. So you don't really have to worry. Usually what I do, guys, is I do rank kickers and defenses on Sunday mornings, primarily because, again, right now, tad bit too early. So unless you want to start one of the defenses tonight, if you have Harrison Butker, you're starting him at kicker. Don't worry about it. We'll get to Sunday morning. It'll be on screen. It'll be ranked. You'll be good to go. We'll see you then. Thank you. Or for those of you who perhaps aren't going to be able to make it for the Sunday morning rankings live stream, in which I conducted from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, might go from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Just depends. It is week 1. It is a special week. We might go for 3 hours. For those of you who want my rankings for this upcoming Sunday, again, you can go ahead, head on over to Underdog Fantasy, use code Andrew, make that first time deposit minimum of $10. When you do, you will get an email personalized from me, from my email to yours every single Sunday morning with rankings by position, by tier, half PPR, full PPR with flex, so that you will pretty much be on the same page of where I'm at and where I'm going with my rankings within the given week. So if you're interested, you can go ahead and travel down to the description, check out the link, go over to Underdog Fantasy. Again, at this current moment in time, just so that we're all on the same page, the current Underdog Fantasy pick'em for today that you can take advantage of is Patrick Mahomes 0.5 total yards. Now, if I scroll down here, I've gone ahead and put him into a slip with David Montgomery, anytime touchdown. I went higher on 0.5 rushing or receiving touchdowns. Just a quick little thing there. I also went ahead, put together a couple pick'em slips in regards to Patrick Mahomes, higher on his passing yards. Again, David Montgomery anytime touchdown. Amon-Ra with more than 6.5 receptions. And Jared Goff completing 2 touchdown passes. I also went ahead and made a very Chiefs-heavy slip here. I'm expecting Sky Moore to get utilization. I mean, 45 receiving yards is not, a world beater. He's going to have to go way further than that to be like at least a strong start, a strong wide receiver 3. But again, if he catches the ball 4 times for 45 yards, I'm not going to be surprised. Of course, I'm running with Mahomes on the more, and I'm going higher on Isaiah Pacheco's overall yardage. So if you guys are interested, you can check out Underdog Fantasy. Do that responsibly. Again, to determine your eligibility, I'll go ahead and transition back to the other screen. You can check out the map on the bottom left in order to determine your eligibility. Again, specific states, you have to be a specific age, 18 or older, 21 or older, etc. So do that responsibly. Thank you very much. Okay, let's get into answering a couple more questions. We had some questions roll in here. We had Kevin Smith say, David Montgomery, Darren Waller, or DeAndre Swift in the flex. Man, I love Darren Waller, but I'm playing David Montgomery there. Aguero says, rate my team in a 12-team full PPR format. We have Lamar, Chubb, Jacobs. I mean, that's already a great start. B-Rob, is B-Rob Bijan Robinson or Brian Robinson? I'd assume it's Brian because there's no way you have Bijan as well. Followed by Lockett, Drake, London, and your bench is Ayuk, JSN. Now that I'm thinking about it, there's no way that's Bijan. You have 2 really stud tight running backs. You have a stud tight end. Your wide receivers obviously took a hit considering the discount. Consider you went Chubb, Jacobs, Mark Andrews, and Lamar with your first 4 picks. So Lockett as your wide receiver 1, I don't love it, and I don't really love Drake London. I mean, Drake London at wide receiver 2 is fine, but Lockett at wide receiver 1, I mean, he's been consistent. The guy's been a top 15 wide receiver. He's just going to have ebbs and flows. He's going to have one 30-point game and in a couple games where he kind of disappears, but that's just kind of the nature of the beast. Hopefully, JSN isn't going to get to a point where Lockett kind of disappears, because if it does, at least you have him on your bench, but I think Ayuk is probably a better option than London going forward. Let's see here. Lucius sends in a question, says, start Debo this weekend or Montgomery tonight? I'd rather play Montgomery. Yeah, that's just kind of where I'm at. Again, guys, if you don't already realize how much I like David Montgomery, all offseason, I've been saying David Montgomery is the Jamal Williams of this team. He's going to get himself heavy utilization in terms of rushing attempts. Additionally, he's going to be the goal line back of this team. That's the expectation. So if that continues to be the case, and it delivers tonight, I won't stop talking about it, because I really do believe within this offense, he is a great prospect to have, especially starting tonight. Feeney in the chat was asking David Montgomery or Gibbs this week. Montgomery in a half PPR, Gibbs in a full PPR. Sky Moore or Drake London or Pickens. I do feel comfortable playing London over the 2, but if you need a second option to that, I would play Sky Moore over Pickens this week. Dram says, I waited on tight end and took Chigozimo Okonkwo late. Just got offered George Kittle for James Cook, Gabe Davis, and Elijah Mitchell. Is it worth it? All bench options. It depends, man. I don't know what the rest of your bench looks like. I guess giving away Gabe Davis doesn't hurt anything. Elijah Mitchell's a handcuff. And James, it's pretty much a James Cook versus George Kittle kind of conversation. I don't know what the rest of your bench looks like. And if this is a league that's like a 10-team league, you can get away with picking up players off the bench. If this is like a 14-team league and your bench is pretty much going to be gutted henceforth, then it's tough. But at this point, I don't mind it. I don't hate it. It's just, what are you going to do with Chigozimo Okonkwo, right? Like, are you going to drop him? At that point, you're just pretty much handing it off to the other guy at that point. It's a 4-for-1 deal. Laporta or Kincaid? I have Laporta 1 spot ahead of Kincaid. I have Laporta at 16 and Kincaid at 17 this week. Laporta or Freiermuth? I have Freiermuth ahead of him. Again, guys, I posted my tight end rankings video earlier today. You can go ahead, travel to the video, fast forward till the end till you see all the tight ends on the screen, and then just kind of roll it from there. But yeah, Laporta is ranked higher than Kincaid. We had a question that rolled in here. Let me see. After Lucius, the question was from Trojan3659. He said, Montgomery or Sanders? I'd play Montgomery. Risk of starting Javonte Williams certainly does exist. Yes, I agree, Trojan. Also, do I start Christian Watson if he plays Mike Williams, Ayuk, or Addison? If Christian Watson plays, you start him. If he doesn't, you go with Ayuk there. Thank you. Work for what you want says Dalvin or Sky Moore, half PPR. Pretty much committed to Sky. I mean, I'm actually not mad at that idea. I think I'd probably roll with that as well. Because again, if Dalvin Cook is going to be limited in any sort of capacity, it could be tough to start him. He's also in a rotation with 2 other guys, so I don't mind the Sky Moore play there. Velcro Killer says, hello. DK, Higgins, or London in a full PPR. Need to pick one. Thank you. I'd play DK Metcalf out of the 3. Thank you. Lucky Slevin says, I have Kansas City defense, stardom, or Atlanta, or Minnesota this week. I have Minnesota ranked the highest amongst all 3 of those defenses. Thank you. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, let me go check my defensive rankings. I have Minnesota ranked at 7, and I have Atlanta ranked at 11. I do not have the Kansas City Chiefs ranked this week as a defense. Thank you. Terry R says, pick 3 in a full PPR. We have James Cook, London, Gibson, Sky, and Sutton. Out of the available options, I would rather play Sutton, London, and Cook. Thank you. Keith Tapp says, I'm starting the Sun God and flexing Mike Evans. Is it safe to flex David Montgomery while I'm starting Sun God in a full PPR? Yes, I would actually prefer that. Thank you. Casey James says, Kelsey is out now. Fire up Tony, ? Or should I stay safe and play D-Hop? I would play D-Hop there. Let's see here. What do we got? Christian in the chat says Van Jefferson or Tony. I'd play Tony there, Christian. Thank you. Jackson Smith and Jigba or Jonathan Mingo. I think that is going to be determined based on tomorrow's practice report. If Adam Thielen and DJ Chark both miss practice tomorrow, you would play Mingo over JSN this week. Sky Moore or Lockett, you were playing Lockett. Again, guys, I'm not 100% sold on it. Does it burn me? Maybe. But I'm not 100% sold on it. I don't want to play someone on a Thursday night to begin my season that just might not be able to get over the hump, and that scares me. It truly does. Yeah, there's just so many mouths to feed within this Kansas City offense, and they're also capable of succeeding because of the fact that Patrick Mahomes is so good. It makes it easier for them. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But I'm not 100% like throwing in Sky Moore as like a top 18 ranked wide receiver because that's where I have Lockett at. You know what I mean? Pacheco or Herbert. I'm probably rolling with. Let me go check. I think I have Pacheco ranked lower than Herbert this week. Let me confirm this. Herbert's 21 and Pacheco is 26 on my list. So that's where I'm going. Bobby says, Skinny Bone, stop spamming. Where's Skinny Bone? Skinny Bone says Montgomery or Amari Cooper. Yeah, Skinny Bone, you don't have to spam, man, but you're chilling. Between the 2 of them, I play Montgomery. Mark L says, hi, Andrew. In a full PPR, what does it say? Are you concerned about Jair Alexander covering DJ Moore? Would you start Jahan Dotson over DJ Moore? Yes, I would. And yes, I am concerned about it. The video I produced on Tuesday, put that out. Everything that I talked about in regards to DJ Moore was, hey, I'm worried about Jair Alexander because he's a guy that can lock up JJ, Justin Jefferson. And if you could do that, you can certainly find yourself a lot of success against someone like DJ Moore. Carlos says, Andrew, full PPR, Montgomery, Cook, or Pierce. I'll take Montgomery there. Thank you. Sky or Evans? I play Evans. Yeah, I play Evans. What else do we have here? We had a question that rolled in from King Carl. Carl, thank you very much. It said Jared Goff or Daniel Jones. I think I have Daniel Jones just like one spot ahead of Jared Goff, quite literally. Via my Patreon rankings, they're in the same tier. They're both tier 7 quarterbacks for this week, ranked 14 and 15. So basically, considering that, flip the coin. If you prefer Jared Goff tonight, roll with him. I think in comparison, they both have relatively... I think they both have similar matchups. They're both not going to feast. It's just a matter of like who's going to be more consistent. I think the rushing upside in my mind kind of leans me in the direction of Daniel Jones. But if you want to roll with Jared Goff, be my guest. If it's a 6-point per passing touchdown league, it has to be Goff. But I'm assuming the question was for 4-point. Thank you. Benny G says Madison or Gibbs on the dream team, Andrew. I'd run with Gibbs tonight. Miles Sanders or James Conner this week? I'm rolling with Sanders. Charbonnet or Deion Jackson? Deion Jackson, assuming that Zach Moss is inactive, of course, but we'll have to wait until tomorrow to know that for certain. Hi, Andrew. Standard League, says Cash Kid Cardi. Etienne, Bijan, Chubb, Miles Sanders, Aaron Jones. Amongst those options, I am playing Chubb, Bijan, Etienne, and Aaron Jones. Thank you, Cash. Let's see here. We had Ethan say Flowers, Dalvin Cook, or Elijah Moore. As of the moment, again, it's going to depend purely on Odell Beckham's, presence. If he's active, then you play Dalvin Cook. If he's not, you play Flowers. New York Giants will be very good this year. I'm hoping they will be. Listen, I hope everyone's good. I hope we have the highest scoring fantasy season / NFL season in the history of the league. That's what I'm hoping for. Skinny Bone says, sorry for the spam. No problem. You're good, man. Organic says, pizza, burgers, I mean, listen, brother. Why not all of them? In a full PPR, let's take it all. Let's take all, all those options. Tyler says, bro, please, Montgomery or Deontay Johnson? I play Montgomery there, Tyler. We had a question that came in from Hathel. Says, MVS, Mostert, or A-Chain? I play Mostert this week against the Chargers' lackluster run-stop defense. Should I start Jerick McKinnon? This is from Trevor Melville. Says, should I start Jerick McKinnon, Jamal Williams, or Brandon Cooks in a full PPR flex? I play Jamal Williams there. Thank you. DK Metcalf or Rashad White, non-PPR? I play DK there. Sky Moore, Zay Flowers, or Raheem Mostert? That's a good question. I think I'm playing Mostert there, but I could convince myself of playing Flowers, considering the full PPR format. I could convince myself of it. 6 point per passing touchdown league, Lawrence or Deshaun Watson? I play Lawrence. Ramondre or Lockett in the standard? In a standard format, I'd probably play Ramondre. Okay, so let me make sure we're caught up on everything. We are. Beautiful. Okay, again, for the next 18 minutes straight, I'm going to try to answer as many questions as possible. If you guys could do me a solid, for those of you who have joined us, again, thank you for joining us today. Hopefully we've answered your question, whether it's directly or by proxy of answering somebody else's question. If you guys could do me a solid, click the like button down below. Be greatly appreciated in terms of supporting the channel. Let's get into this. BA sent in a question, said, PPR, 2 flex options. We have Dalvin Cook, Christian Watson, and Antonio Gibson, along with Brandon Ayuk. If, in fact, Christian Watson is healthy, we play Christian Watson alongside Ayuk. If he is not, then at that point, I'm comfortable playing Dalvin alongside of Ayuk. Thank you. Full PPR, McLaurin or Sky Moore? I play McLaurin. I'm assuming he's playing this week, so I'm leaning in that direction. Let's see here. We had a question from Dude Man. Says, hey, Andrew, in a half PPR, I need 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and a flex. Are any of these options for today's game? Wilson, Olave, Dotson, Flowers? So for sure, so you're obviously Dude Man 012. You're playing Bijan and Montgomery. That's a given. You're also playing Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave. So that's a given. So those are your 2 running backs and 2 wide receivers. A matter of your flex is between Dotson, Burks, Flowers, Madison, Pierce. I play Madison in your flex. That's kind of how I would approach it. Thank you. So it's again Bijan, Montgomery, Olave, Wilson, and Madison. Let's see here. We had a question that says McKinnon or AJ Dillon. Oof, that's a tough one. I am leaning towards AJ Dillon there. I'm leaning towards AJ Dillon because unless Jerick McKinnon scores a touchdown, I have a hard time thinking that he's immediately going to be someone that can kind of shift the tides and be more. Yeah, it's going to be tough because I don't think he's going to get as many touches, and unless he scores a touchdown, it's going to be tough because A.J. Dillon gets himself utilization in the receiving game. In a PPR, he's not completely, inept in that overall category of getting receptions. So I think it's A.J. Dillon there. Jimbo Fisher says Sky Moore or DJ Moore. I like Sky. Is Sky Moore top 25? No, he's not top 25. As of right now, he's like my number 33. Like he's on the outside of the the wide receiver 3 conversation. So I prefer DJ Moore in comparison. Standard league, who should I start? Montgomery, Godwin, or Mostert? I play Montgomery there. Adrian Gomez. Ibrahim says Kenneth Walker injury news just came out. Oh, did it really? Wow. While I'm streaming, of course. Let's see here. Kenneth Walker was limited today at practice with a groin injury. You know what that means? Whoever invested in Zach Charbonnet, get ready. We'll talk about that as we get closer to Sunday. JK says, never answered my question, ? JK, did you send in a question or did you just type it in the chat? Because it'll be important to know if I'm trying to find it. Yeah, where's your question, JK? You asked full PPR, flex 1, Herbert, London, Pickens, or White. I'm pretty sure I answered this, but in case I didn't, and I'm perhaps misremembering, I would play Rashad White out of that group. Thank you, JK. Appreciate it. We had a question: Etienne or Stevenson? I have them back to back. I mean, pretty much at this point, it's pretty close. Adam Thielen or Elijah Moore? I don't even know if Adam Thielen's playing right now, so we'll have to wait and see by Sunday. Montgomery or Akers? Montgomery. If Kenneth Walker is out how high would you rank Charbonnet? Charbonnet would be a top 20 back, minimum. Hey, Andrew, would you start Pacheco over Brandon Ayuk in the flex? If Travis, yeah, I would play Pacheco over Brandon Ayuk. Thank you. Start 2, Marquise Hollywood-Brown, Khalil Herbert, Christian Kirk. I'd play Khalil Herbert and Christian Kirk in that regard. Marquise Hollywood-Brown has been limited with a hamstring injury, so I mean, I'm kind of leaning towards the healthier players on top of the fact that I expect them to score more points considering the quarterbacks that they're associated with in comparison to someone like Marquise Hollywood-Brown this week. David Montgomery or Rashad White, full PPR. I'm going Montgomery there, Kyle. Thank you. Keith Tapp sends in a question. Says, rate my team in a 10-team full PPR league. We have Fields, Cup, Sun God, Bijan, AJ as in Aaron Jones, Mark Andrews, Daniel Carlson, Antonio Gibson, Samaje P. Ryan, Elijah Mitchell, Mike Evans, Deontay Johnson, JSN, and Van Jefferson. I mean, pretty solid. I mean, look, if and when Cup is healthy, this is a really strong starting lineup. Really strong starting lineup. The depth in which you have with Deontay Johnson, JSN, Evans, P. Ryan's pretty solid there with Antonio Gibson in terms of guys that can also be relevant on the ground through the air, but are handcuffs that have upside in case something happens in front of them. That's a pretty solid team there, Keith. Thank you. I need to scroll to the bottom here. Sky or Addison? Let's play Sky there. Moore or Brian Robinson Jr. in a full PPR? Which Moore is this? Is this Sky Moore or is this DJ Moore? That's my question. Leon says half PPR, pick 2. London, Sutton, Pickens, and Dion. London and Sutton are my suggestions there. Thank you. D-Hop or Jahan Dotson? I play D-Hop. Would you start Pacheco over Brandon Ayuk? Yes, I would. Samson, I would. Laporta or Noah Gray? I play Laporta. I have Noah Gray at 20. I have Sam Laporta at 16. Javonte Williams or A.J. Dillon in a full PPR? I think in a full PPR, I have Javonte Williams ahead of him. Let me confirm this. Yeah, I have Javonte Williams at 32, and I have A.J. Dillon at 33, back-to-back in a full PPR. Laporta, Gray, or Dulcich? I have Laporta over the bunch. Elijah Moore or Kadarius Toney? Let's go with Toney tonight. Half PPR, 2 spots. London, Sutton. Oh, yeah, we already took care of that question from Leon. Drew Johnson. Drew, thank you very much. Says, start 3 in a full PPR. Monty, Sanders, Godwin, Deontay, Sky Moore. Out of the available options that you have, I would start Monty, Sanders, and Godwin. Thank you. Cyanide says, Pacheco, Madison, Lockett, DJ Moore. I need 3. Of the available options, I'd play Madison number 1, Lockett number 2, and if it's between Pacheco and DJ Moore, let me reference where my rankings are. Let's see, where do I have Pacheco in comparison to DJ Moore? I have Isaiah Pacheco ahead of DJ Moore, and that's where we're going. Thank you. Evan Ingram or Pat Freiermuth. Again, check out the video, David. I posted it earlier today in regards to tight end rankings for week 1. I do have Evan Ingram ahead of Pat Freiermuth. Advantageous matchup going up against the Indianapolis Colts defense in comparison to, of course, the unfortunate nature of taking on the San Francisco defense for Pat Freiermuth. Blake in the chat was asking Najee or Madison in a full PPR. I played Madison this week. Blake, thank you. Okay, we got 10 more minutes here, guys. 10 more minutes. Tua or Daniel Jones? Again, you can find the video on my channel. It'll answer your question. I believe I have Tua ranked ahead of him. If you want more context, the video will give that to you. Thank you. Tony is the soul stone of this week. Is he? Are we sacrificing Travis Kelce in exchange to get, Kadarius Toney more looks? Is that what we're talking about? Thank you. Good reference there, by the way, Cracker. Good reference to say the least. The hidden gems. Amari Cooper or Najee? I'd probably play Amari Cooper there. Full PPR, pick 1, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams. I'd play Keenan Allen there. Let's see here. We had 300 likes. Yeah, we finally got there. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. That is very helpful. It really does go a long way. I appreciate you guys clicking the like button down below, supporting the channel in that regard. We had a question that came in from Chris. Chris said, in a full PPR, would you rather play Ayuk, Sky Moore, or Lazard? I would rank them Ayuk, Sky Moore, and Lazard in that exact order. Do I feel more compelled with Sky Moore compared to Ayuk? Not really. I honestly would rather probably just play Ayuk there. So I'm comfortable with that, especially with George Kittle potentially missing this week. Like that would make the elevation of what Ayuk is able to do on Sunday against the Pittsburgh Steelers that much more heightened. So yeah, I'm probably just rolling with Ayuk there. Jared sent in a question, says Sky Moore or Brandon Ayuk / Drake London. Again, I'd probably roll with Ayuk in London there over for Sky Moore. Let me see. Where do I have London in comparison to Sky Moore? Yeah, I have London a couple spots ahead of him. Is it enough for me to be convinced to flop the other way? Again, if you're just looking for the safest option, it would be to just avoid Sky Moore. If you want a piece of this game and you're well, you're well informed on the matter and you're like, hey, I feel very comfortable with the potential risk and upside of Sky Moore, and I'm willing to take said risk, be my guest. I mean, again, I'm hoping for everyone to ball out. I'm hoping this game to be a 45-35 kind of game to kind of get us off to a nice start for fantasy purposes. Probably won't be the case, but we're hoping for high upside. Monty or Christian Watson? I just played Monty tonight. Matthew sent in a question. Matthew, thank you very much. Matthew Langley says, in a half PPR, Kenneth Walker who's questionable or Isaiah Pacheco? If you don't have any other options, I mean, man, here's the thing. I have Kenneth Walker at rank 13 and I have Pacheco at 26. So like he's literally pretty far ahead of him. So if we can play Kenneth Walker, we want to. Considering it's a groin injury, considering he was limited today, he may be in more of a rotational kind of sense. So it could rank him a little bit lower in that regard, even if he's active. But I still think I'd probably rather play Kenneth Walker. The issue is if he ends up, having some sort of setback tomorrow, then at that point, who's the other option? Who else are you playing? If you don't have an additional option, then we just roll with Pacheco tonight and we kind of just say, hey, we've been kind of pinched into this unfortunate scenario because of the injury and kind of roll it there. Raw G 12-6 says, pick 2, Montgomery, Mostert, Rachaad White. I would play Montgomery and White. Thank you. We had a question from Tab TJE1 says, Rachaad White, McLaurin, or Sky Moore. Pick one in a full PPR. I'd probably play McLaurin, assuming he's healthy this weekend. Keenan Allen or Montgomery in a full PPR. I believe I have Keenan Allen ahead of Montgomery in a full PPR this week. But that's because Keenan Allen probably catches the ball like 7-8 times for 70-80 yards. And if he scores a touchdown, the guy's a 20-point monster. I mean, it works so well. The format is so advantageous for Keenan Allen in that regard. Keenan Allen or Hopkins rest of season PPR. I'd rather have Keenan Allen. Davey C says full PPR. My RB2 is Breece Hall or Brian Robinson this weekend or Khalil Herbert. Of the bunch, I like Khalil Herbert a lot. Standard, Dotson or Javonte? Standard format, Javonte or Dotson. I'd probably play Dotson there. Spenny says, am I crazy for betting on Michael Thomas health week 1? Betting on Michael Thomas's health? What do you mean betting? Like, we're assuming he's going to be healthy. He should be healthy. All signs point to him being healthy. The question is how much utilization he's going to get in this offense. That's the real question, the real bet that needs to be made. Tom Mello, hey, I answered your question a little bit earlier. We're taking Tua over Daniel Jones. If you need more context, check out the video that I posted earlier this week in regards to quarterback rankings to give you more context on the matter. Appreciate it. Thank you. Arda says, hey, Andrew, in a standard format, am I playing Montgomery or Sanders? I'm playing Montgomery there. What are your thoughts on OBJ in season long? I mean, let's see how week 1 goes. Let's see if he's even healthy before we start making any assumptions. Outside of that, I mean, he's a wide receiver 4 in my rankings. Joel Garza says David Montgomery or Drake London. I'm playing David Montgomery. Non-PPR, Mostert, Hopkins, Ayuk. In a non-PPR format, I probably play Mostert there. Yeah, that's probably where I go with. Standard. Okay, we already took care of that question. Arda says, have you missed my question, boss? No, I just answered it. Montgomery over Sanders. Thank you, Arda. I appreciate it again. Roman says, should I drop Bateman or Quentin Johnston for Marvin Mims? Ooh, I would, man. I'd be okay with the potential swap of Quentin Johnston, but man, Quentin Johnston's getting a lot of hype in training camp, so I think I probably just hold what you have. I probably just hold it. Let's see here. Ayuk or Kenneth Walker? Again, let's wait and see if he practices tomorrow before we answer any additional questions regarding him. Let's wait, guys. Again, that's why I always say rankings are subject to change, because the fact of the matter is, unfortunately, we don't have all the answers. I am not equipped with all the answer at this moment. By the time I get to Sunday morning when we're live streaming for those couple hours before the kickoff with Kiorkof, as we like to call it, I will have all the relevant information equipped so I can make the most informed decision myself and if, kind of inform you guys as to where I'm kind of going. Tony or McKinnon in a flex full PPR? Oh man, that's a really good question. McKinnon or Tony? Where do I have them ranked? Oops, that's not how you spell Tony. Tony I have there. No, that's not my flex. That's my regular rankings. Where is McKinnon in comparison? I think I have Tony ahead of McKinnon. I do. Pacheco or Jamal Williams? I think I have them back to back, if I'm not mistaken. Let me check my half PPR rankings as of Patreon. We currently have it as, where the heck is he? Pacheco is 26, Jamal Williams 28. Thank you. We had a question from Dalvin Cook or Sky Moore in a standard league. I'd probably play Dalvin Cook there, hope for touchdown upside. Mike Williams or Miles Sanders in a full PPR. Ooh, I'd probably go Mike Williams there. I'd probably go Mike Williams there. If in fact we have all of the receivers for the Panthers out this week with Adam Thielen and DJ Chark, it may switch my answer, but for now we'll leave it as such. We'll revisit that on Sunday. Let's see here. We had Lucas send in a question. Says Mike. Okay, so yeah, that was your question, Mike Williams or Miles Sanders. Let me actually confirm this. Let's go look at. It really is going to depend on what exactly we're going to get out of the injury designation of those running backs purely. Otherwise, for right now, I am playing. In fact, let's see here. Where is Miles Sanders? Where's Sanders in comparison? Yeah, I am playing Mike Williams over Miles Sanders in a full PPR. Thank you, Lucas. I appreciate it. Kingsy says, Kingsy191 says, with Kelsey's out, with Kelsey injury very quick, Juwan Johnson or Sam Laporta? I would play Juwan Johnson this week. DJ Moore or Montgomery in the flex? I'd rather play Montgomery. Peter says, drop Elijah Mitchell or Rashad White for Charbonnet? I would rather drop Elijah Mitchell for Zach Charbonnet. I want to keep Rashad White because he's the starter for Tampa Bay and can absolutely be a relevant option for fantasy going forward. Flex, Gabe Davis or Charbonnet? We got to wait and see whether or not Kenneth Walker's active. But we let's wait on that. Juwan Johnson or Higbee rest of the season? I'd rather play with Higbee in my lineup rest of the season. For sure. Especially with Matthew Stafford there now. Like last season, like you guys know how relevant, a guy like Tyler Higbee was. What, weeks 1 through 5 was averaging 9.6 targets per game last season when given ample opportunity. Should I drop OBJ for Mingo? You can, just depends on how vital OBJ is to your lineup. I don't think he's probably vital. I don't mind the swap. Doesn't bother me. Gray or Ferguson with Kelsey out? I have Noah Gray ranked over Jake Ferguson this week. Thank you. All right, we are about to close out today's episode. Again, Sutton or Montgomery? I'm playing Montgomery. I do appreciate y'all coming out here, showing support via Super Chats. Clicking the like button down below is greatly appreciated. Again, I will be back tomorrow with a video upload. We'll be back Saturday afternoon with a live stream, along with Sunday morning for a live stream, answering all these questions. Hopefully, we'll have far more clarification in regards to different injury designations going into week 1, so that when I'm giving these answers, I'm even more confident and more convicted, or I have more conviction in those answers. I'm not as like, hey, we gotta wait, or like there's nothing. I don't have to wait for the other shoe to drop. I know for a fact, hey, this guy's playing, this guy's out. Let's go this way. This is the great matchup. This is the opportunities, etc. So I do appreciate y'all. It's 5:20. Enjoy the game. Let's hope for a high-scoring event. And let's enjoy it. Again, a couple reminders before we close out. If you guys haven't checked out Underdog Fantasy and you guys want my rankings every single Sunday morning from weeks 1 through 18 sent from my email directly to yours, be sure to go down to the description, click on the link, use code Andrew to sign up, make that first-time deposit minimum of $10. You're additionally going to get the first-time deposit match, those rankings that are by position, by tier, half PPR, full PPR, which includes flex. Again, these are rankings that are never offered on the channel. So if you're interested in taking advantage of the opportunity, check out Underdog Fantasy. Additionally, if you've already signed up via Underdog Fantasy, whether it's my code, somebody else's code in the past, a different season, you can check out my Patreon for those of you who are interested. Again, don't feel pressure to do so because I'll be here to help anyway to the best of my ability. But thank you guys. Appreciate it. That's going to cover it here. Let's hit the road. Thank you guys. If you guys haven't checked out my quarterback or tight end rankings video, and those are potentially of need, be sure to check them out. We've been posting those the last couple days, and hopefully that can help you kind of lead to your decision going into week 1. Otherwise, I'll be here this weekend to answer questions. That's going to be it for me. I appreciate you all. Let's go enjoy some football. I'm going to cue the music as I should, and we're off and away for week 1 of the 2023 fantasy football season. Thank you guys, and I'll see you. Peace.